Hello, hello, come on in. Welcome, welcome. I don't have a PowerPoint for y'all tonight. So grab a piece of paper and a pencil. I hope for you guys to connect some dots tonight with your sleep patterns and your body systems and hormones. So even if you get one little nugget of truth tonight, something that makes you go, let me research that more, or let me ask Sarah some more questions on that. That is my goal tonight. So come on in. I'm just going to give everyone another minute here to join. I'm going to put my oil on grounding. I love grounding, especially at nighttime, but I use it, oh my word, a lot. It has all the woodsy scents. And so I feel like I'm in the mountains of like Idaho when I put this on. It just helps me feel so calm. So it's one that I've been loving. What are you loving? What oil? Because we go, like we ebb and flow with our oils, right? Sometimes it's like, you know, for me, I'm always putting clarity on. I actually didn't put that on tonight. I should put that on to stay focused. But a lot of times I will just kind of gravitate towards what my body is feeling it needs. So let me know what you are loving in the chat. Okay. Frankincense, yes, I have that one here too. Such a good one. Ooh, blue tansy. Yes, that is like valor on steroids, right? It is so good. And when I'm having a day where nothing calms me, blue tansy is it. So I might be walking around like a Smurf, right? Looking all blue. Blue tansy will dye your skin blue. It will go away, but just make sure that you rub it in really good or put it somewhere where people will ask you, is that a black and blue? What's on your temples? Like, all right, it looks like we have everyone here. If there's a few people that are joining and I miss it, just unmute yourself and say, hey, someone's trying to get in, or I have someone trying to get in. So I want to be mindful of your time tonight. Tonight we are talking about sleep patterns and healthy sleep support. And yeah, like I said earlier, I want you guys to connect the dots. I want you to have some aha moments tonight when it comes to sleep. For those of you that are new here on our Monday night calls, my name is Sarah Stutzman, and this is part of our oils education community. We bring education just to the community, to whoever wants to listen. It's not just about oils, it is holistic health, mental health, body support. We tie in oils, lifestyle, food, and so tonight is all about sleep. And how many of you have or are struggling with sleep? What are you experiencing? If you feel like you want to share that, you can. Maybe it is you can't fall asleep at night. You toss and you turn, or you wake up in the middle of the night with racing thoughts and you cannot go back to sleep and you feel like you just don't get a good night's sleep. Or you do sleep and you just feel like you don't get a good night's sleep, right? Anything in particular that maybe you're struggling with that you're on this call tonight, okay? If you feel like you want to share, please do, because you know what? I am sure you are not alone, all right? Definitely not alone. Tossing, turning, staying asleep, anxiety, praying for you, Kirsty. Saw that come through. Definitely praying for you, girl. Vetiver, yes, vetiver is so good. I don't have that on my list. Thank you for that reminder. Waking up in the middle of the night and then can't fall back to sleep. Getting to sleep, okay. Yeah, overthinking things, right? And so maybe you have tried multiple things, right? Maybe you have tried, what we call sleep hygiene is setting a good bedtime routine. So I'm going to go through these with you because a lot of times maybe you've already tried these, or maybe you haven't heard of these, but these are normally the things that people tell you to try, right? Like start a bedtime routine. Put down your phone because of the blue light, right? Blue light interferes with our pineal gland, and our pineal gland is our third eye, and it really affects our pineal gland in the way that we actually think creatively and falling asleep. So putting down that phone, reading a book, turning off the TV. Maybe you've tried having, you know, some tea at nighttime, but then that wakes you up because you have to go to the bathroom, right? So it's like, what's the lesser of two evils there? Maybe you have tried oils. Maybe you tried lavender. Anything else that you have tried to go to sleep? Maybe it was breathing, yoga. Tell me what you have tried so far to help you fall asleep. Or when you wake up, what has helped you, or what are you trying right now? The dimmer on your phone, okay, yep. You can change, did you know on your phone you can change to you can turn off the blue light. It's in your settings and it changes it to more like a yellow, like Kirsty said, like a dimmer. CBD, we're gonna talk about that tonight. Oils in the diffuser. Oh yes, Karen, the feelings protocol, right on. Vetiver, cedarwood, lavender. Okay, y'all are using your oils before bed. I love the bedtime routine. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about some things that I want you to think about that could be the root issue of why you may not be able to fall asleep or stay asleep. Okay. And then we're going to tie in oils and supplements and things that you can use while you're healing your body. Okay, because there is a reason for not being able to fall asleep or stay asleep. And that has to do with stress, okay? A lot of times it's stress, not always, but a lot of times it's stress because, oh yes, I see it, night sweats. We're gonna talk about that. So stress is okay from time to time, right? But how many of you are living in constant stress? Like every single day, even if you try your best to control it, the body never lies, okay? You might seem all calm, cool, and collected on the outside, like you got this, but inside you may be dealing with emotional trauma that you're just stuffing, or that you've never dealt with, or, you know, just trying to keep the schedule going smoothly. And if one thing, you know, goes wrong, everything goes wrong, okay? Maybe you are just living on the edge. Like every day, you're like, I got it. But even though you feel like you might have it, right? There's that constant underlying stress. That's called living in the fight flight, right? And our adrenals cannot keep up. And so what happens is two things. We live with increased cortisol. Our cortisol levels are so high, okay? Which cortisol is a hormone, right? And so when our cortisol is really high, it wreaks havoc on the other parts of our body. Inflammation is high. It actually deteriorates tissue. Did you know this? I had to go get a thermography scan. I was under so much stress. I was having, this is like side note, but just because it plays into so many other things, I was having breast pain, and my thermographer said that it actually eats away tissue. And so I was probably having breast pain from, you know, lymphatic cloggage and, but like the stress, the cortisol eating away at breast tissue. Like guys, we need to get our stress under control. All right. And so what happens is when cortisol is so high, cortisol and melatonin share the same receptor site. So if we are going, and it's, 9 o'clock at night, and we're like, okay, I'm just going to push through. I'm tired, but I'm going to push through. And you get what's called that second win, right? And then you're like, yeah, I feel good. And you can't go to sleep for another 4 hours. That's because cortisol and adrenaline are rushing through your body, and melatonin is like, okay, where am I going to go? I have, it's time for the body to rest, and melatonin doesn't have a receptor site. It doesn't have anywhere to go. And so it takes 4 hours for serotonin or cortisol to dissolve, right? Or to metabolize. And then melatonin can come in and take up residency. So that's why it's really important to go back to, and maybe you don't understand the why of setting that good bedtime routine. So telling yourself, I'm going to stop by 9 o'clock. Okay. We all should be in bed by 10. Okay. And then the body starts over. Our body needs to rest and repair, and certain organs rest and repair and detox and go through this cleansing at nighttime. And so we need to let our body do that, because if it doesn't, then those organs don't have a chance to reset for the next day. So if our cortisol is constantly high, at a high level, and our adrenals are pumping out cortisol, and if you've ever heard me talk about hormones before, which I have a bunch of those on my YouTube channel, we've talked about them in here, but I can always do a refresher if you want to hear that. But if your adrenals can't keep up, guess what happens? Your sex hormones kick in. So cholesterol is your precursor to all your sex hormones and to all your hormones. So it's cholesterol, then it's pregnenolone and DHEA. Pregnenolone either makes, oh my word, I'm blanking. Progesterone or cortisol, okay? It's a backup. So if your adrenals can't keep up, your body's gonna make cortisol instead of progesterone. And progesterone is a very important sex hormone, right, ladies? And so it is like our feel-good hormone. It is one that helps us have a sex drive. It makes us, it helps us sleep. And so it regulates all of those things. And then it also interferes with our thyroid. So if you're following me, I know it's a lot to follow, but if you can see how stress impairs all kinds of body systems, including sleep, right? Including our sleep. And it interferes with our, the stress interferes with our sex hormones and our thyroid. So when cortisol is really, really high, and our adrenals then are like, okay, I surrender, I give up, and we fall into adrenal fatigue. And so you either have really high cortisol or you have low cortisol, okay? A lot of times, if you are one that lives in the fight and flight response, that stress all the time, you may actually have adrenal fatigue. I mean, I'm not a doctor, I'm not diagnosing or anything, where you have really low cortisol. And what happens there, I saw someone say that, the panic attacks, waking up at night with panic attacks or heat flashes, what that comes from. And anyone that's in their 40s or entering into premenopause, menopause, you may be experiencing this. If you are, if you're in your 40s and you are thinking that you want to take care of your body before you enter menopause, now is the time. Because what happens is those hot flashes come from adrenaline surges. Okay. And so you may be, when you have low cortisol, you could have those little adrenaline surges. And that is anxiety, panic attacks, even depression too. It could be, a combination of all of those. Hot flashes. So you could be waking up at night from just having that low cortisol and then some, adrenaline surges. Adrenaline surges can also come from inflammation in the body. And A gut imbalance. A lot of times a gut imbalance could impair sleep too. So, so many root causes, right? And you're probably thinking, what could it be for me? I always say, look at gut first. Look at the gut, because your gut could, anytime you have inflammation or a lingering low-grade infection in your body, like in the gut, like a bacteria overgrowth, a bad bacteria overgrowth, not good. Parasites, any of those low-grade infections could be creating high cortisol. Your body could be under stress from that low-grade infection. So you may be saying, I'm cool, I got like, I'm not stressed at all. And you might not be. But if you do have a low-grade infection, you know, from that gut dysbiosis, from things not being in balance, it's gonna throw your body into a high stress state, okay? And so you will have high cortisol or those adrenaline surges. So everything usually points back to the gut. So think about that. And some things that you can do there is, if you want to dive deeper, I'm throwing some heavy things out to you guys tonight. Think about asking a doctor for a stool sample. A stool sample is something that would show bacteria overgrowth, parasites, and these things I can help you with. So I'm just sharing these with you. If you have more questions on them, please ask. Because if you have a gut imbalance, here's what happens with serotonin. Serotonin is created and stored in your gut, and then it's passed through to your brain through the vagus nerve, your enteric nervous system. And if you don't have enough serotonin in your gut, your serotonin is a neurotransmitter. It's your happy, feel-good neurotransmitter, and it actually is a precursor to creating melatonin, okay? And so it's tryptophan. Tryptophan makes serotonin. Serotonin then makes melatonin. It's just like this chain reaction that happens through enzymes and vitamins that you need, specifically B vitamins. So if you have a gut imbalance, you may not be creating or even being able to store enough serotonin to, you know, that could lead to anxiety, depression, all of those mood issues that you may be having, and then also not being able to create enough melatonin to actually sleep at night. So so many things to think of. So I always think about number one is gut, and then lifestyle things as well too with the stress. So and if you wake up at a certain time at night, okay, yes, Denise, talk to me about that. Something that I have done, okay, I'm getting off track. Talk to me about that at the end, Denise, then. If you wake up at a certain time at night, journal that. Because there's a book called The Ultimate Balance by Dr. Leanne Dearduff. If someone can write that in the chat, that would be awesome, because I can't do two things at one time. Denise, if you could grab that. I don't know if you have this book. But it's infusing the vibrational energy of essential oils into the chakras, meridians, and organs. And I always thought like, oh, chakras, I don't know. But the more that I'm learning, we have these energy points. We have these, you know, whether you call them chakras, whatever. I mean, there's so many different names. But if you study Chinese medicine, this book talks about it, and it talks about if you wake up at a certain time, it talks about each, like the hours that your organs cleanse and detoxify. And if you're waking up at, let me see if I can find, I should have had one just for an example. I think it's like, yeah, there it is. Okay, if you're waking up at like between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. on a regular, consistent basis, like, you know, every night, that's the liver. So that might be just something that you want to think about. Ooh, my liver is detoxing during this time I'm waking up. What's happening? Is my liver healthy? Should I be looking into that? 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. If you are maybe more restless or tired or can't fall asleep, that's the kidney. Okay, so every organ has a different time that it cleanses and detoxes it. This is Leanne Dierduff, and I will take that. She wrote, Taming the Dragon Within, which is, her and her husband wrote that. That's the hormone book, how to use oils for hormones at any age. So that's a really good book too. I'll write that down, Taming the Dragon Within. Okay, so now that we talked about some root causes, right? And Denise, you were saying about parasites and with someone that attended your Zoom. Wednesday is the full moon. Here's a crazy story about that. My daughter Hannah, this last full moon, she was like, and I'll just be explicit, she was having lots of diarrhea, but she was bopping around like she wasn't sick. And then the morning after the full moon, she's like, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And she threw up and then she was fine. And I was like, I think you might have some parasites, because a couple days before that, I found her sitting in the middle of the baby chicks, like with the baby chicks all around her, and poop, right? And so we can gather parasites from just walking barefoot, from eating fruit that hasn't been washed. I mean, we come in contact with parasites all the time. That's why like washing our hands is really, really important. More than just germs and viruses and stuff, it's parasites. So be conscious of that. If you feel a little off during this full moon, I don't know, just something to think about too. They're more active during the full moon, okay? Bacteria. So I do something called a Zyto scan. Zytos are like, if you've ever had an iTovi done, an iTovi is a little handheld device. It's hooked up to, it's kind of like Fitbit technology. It reads your body's frequency, and then it sends back to the system, to the program, what your body is resonating, where there's weaknesses, and where your body might need specific oils, specific supplements for mental health, for emotional health, for physical health. And so the Zyto goes even deeper, and it goes into 4 key areas: hormone system, immune system, detoxification system, and gastrointestinal system, and then some lifestyle systems as well. It really is a deep dive. And a lot of times you can map it, and you can see where your body is coming up and resonating with a lot of the same things in each system, whether it's high glyphosate, which is pretty much like Roundup on all the fields. It's in our water supply. A lot of times that comes up. If it's resonating bacteria, if it's resonating more emotional triggers, and it'll tell you what supplements that your body is needing. And here's a really cool testimony. I had a girl that came, and not a Young Living member. She just came, she wanted a foot bath. We did the Ionic foot cleanse, and then she got the Zyto scan. She needed some things for bacteria. She was on a 1-year journey. She needed support. She's like, I have been trying everything. I mean, she doesn't need to lose weight, but she's like, I've been trying to like just get healthy and lose a few pounds, and I just feel like there's this block. And so 2 things came up: mineral essence for bacteria, and Jade Lemon. She used those things for 2 weeks, and she's like, I started dropping pounds. It's the only thing I changed. And so it is incredible what that system will show you. And so I have that in my home if you want to schedule an appointment, if you are local. If not, seek out someone in your community that does that. Zyto, Z-Y-T-O. Okay. But it might point you to some of the things that your body might need, specifically for sleep if you're struggling with that, and some of their root causes. So far, any questions on any of that deep stuff before I get into some things that can support you as you are healing those root causes. Denise, I think it is. I started with the Zyto scanner, then I went to the Itovi because the Itovi was a little bit more transportable, like to classes and to have with me. I still have my Itovi, but I don't know, I love the Zyto. It hooks to the computer and it's definitely a little bit, it's a lot. It dives deeper, yeah. You know what, Julie, I have to look into that. Someone said I can do it remotely. Let me look into that. I heard that you could, if you have a hand cradle. So what it is, it looks like a big mouse pad and you just put your hand on it. If you have one of those, you could download the system, I think, and then we could do it together. So let me look into that. I think you can. I have not read that you can't, Lynn, doing an ionic foot bath with a broken bone. I just know that you can't do an ionic foot bath with if you have any plates or if you are on specific medications. So if you want to, then, you know, if you trust it, then yes, but you could always wait till you heal too. Yeah. Okay. If any other questions come up, I'll go back through and read. Okay, so what do you do in the meantime, right? So I love my oils. How many of you love your oils, right? They are incredible, but I'm always about the root cause. We always have to heal our body, but we can use oils as we're healing our body with food, with sleep, with, you know, sunlight, water, and getting to a good, you know, provider that will guide us to where we need to be. So what you can do as you're, you know, finding out what the root cause of your sleep issue is, here's what you can use. Magnesium. Magnesium is incredible, and I will send you, I'm gonna put a link right here. Fill out this survey, okay? This will help guide our summer series. But fill that out, and anyone that fills that out, I'm gonna send you a bunch of things to just help you do some more research, because there's different kinds of magnesium. There's several kinds of magnesium, and so I want you to research and find the one that's best for you. Young Living has something called Unwind, and that's for kids. It's a mineral supplement, but I know adults take it too. And so you can use the Unwind, which has magnesium in it. I'm not actually sure what kind it is in it. I should, but the other thing that you can use is Emu Pro. Okay, Emu Pro is a little supplement that is, it sounds like it's for your immune system, which essentially it is if you're getting sleep, because when you're sleeping, you're supporting your immune system. So Emu Pro has mushrooms in it. It has oils that support, it's a little tablet that you chew. You can take a whole one, you can take a half of one, whatever you want to. You take it before bed. It has oils, it has a little tiny bit of melatonin, just a little bit, but it helps you sleep and it supports your immune system, right? It supports your body systems. So if you are having a hard time falling asleep, go ahead and take one of those, or start with a half a tablet. Some mamas give it to their children as well. They'll give like a quarter of a tablet to help them sleep as well. So magnesium or the sleep supplement. Number 2, CBD. Someone said they use the CBD and they love the CBD. There are different types of CBD that Young Living has, but all of their CBD is, it's an isolate, so it's just the CBD. There's no THC in it, and then they use oils to add that that effect that's going to amplify the CBD that is in, you know, the CBD isolate. So there's a calm roller that you can use if you don't feel comfortable taking CBD internally, Or you can, if you do, they have the drops that you can put in water, or you can put it right under your tongue and it's going to calm you and help you fall asleep. How many of you love the CBD from Young Living? I love it. It's like the calm is incredible. The calm roller, it has lavender in it, has tangerine, has cedar wood, and then the CBD. So it's like all the calming oils plus the CBD. Incredible. And it smells so good. Yes, and it's good for pain. The muscle rub. Oh, I love it. The muscle rub actually calms me down a lot more than anything else. Okay, number 3, doing some breathing exercises. I'll send you some breathing exercises that you can do. One is just a box breathing, right? It's just breathing in for 5, holding for 5, breathing out for 5, holding for 5. Do that 3 times. And you can use oils with that. You can rub, put a drop of grounding in your hand. Swirl it around in a clockwise motion. Breathe in for 5, hold for 5, breathe out for 5, hold for 5. You can do that with your oils. And here are the oils that are amazing for calming the brain, helping you unwind, helping to increase melatonin. Cedarwood, lavender, rutavala, that comes in a roller. It's rue and valerian together, so it's a blend. That comes in a roller bottle. You can roll it right on. If you don't like the smell of that one, because valerian can have like a off smell, you can put it on your feet and put some socks on. The other one is valerian. That's a really strong oil, but it's incredible for sleep. And like I said, just roll it on your feet. If you don't like the smell, put some socks on and forget about it. Peace and calming, stress away, and Denise said vetiver earlier. And any of those, if you're not, if you've gone through all of those and then you're trying some different ones, and again, if you don't like it, the smell, just put it on your feet until you get used to it or mix it with another oil. My go-to is any of the fir oils. So grounding, Idaho grand fir, Idaho blue spruce, those ground me. Someone said Palo Santo, yes. And another thing that helps produce melatonin is a red light. So on your diffuser, put your red light on. I always thought that was like, ooh, that's the sexy color, right? Oh no, it actually helps you fall asleep. So put the red light on. Oh yes, okay, Lynn, I like the smell of rutavala too. It has an emotional component too. I was away from my children. I was really missing them, and I would put that on, and it just reminded me of being home. So, find what works for you. Maybe none of those oils work for you. Maybe you have something else that you love. If you do, put it on here. Tell me what you guys are loving to help you fall asleep. Number 4, texture. Use all of your senses when you go to sleep. This is something that I just learned this weekend. I was away at a training this weekend. It was called Survive and Thrive. It was incredible, but we're supposed to be using all of our senses. And how many of us go to bed just on the phone, right? We put the phone down, then we can't sleep. So taste, touch, smell, see, hear. I love to sleep with the windows open now, right? If you don't, maybe have a sound machine. Texture, soft blanket, something that is sensory that helps you fall asleep. Maybe it's a weighted blanket. Sometimes I need weight. So I do have like a blanket that is soft and it has weight to it. And if I can't fall asleep at night, like I pack this blanket with me when I travel, and my husband is so jealous. He's like, what? That blanket again? I'm like, yes, I need it because it just helps me calm down if I wake up at night and I can't fall asleep. Taste. So maybe there's some foods that help you fall asleep. Comfort foods like oatmeal or warm milk. So having something that is like texture and taste before bed, that's going to calm your nervous system and help you fall asleep. Smell, obviously your oils, right? And then see, put down your phone and experience the moment that you're in. Have something beautiful in your room, have flowers, make your room a place of retreat that you want to go. Okay. And then lastly, some of you wake up at night just to go to the bathroom, right? Denise has a really good trick she taught me. You want to tell them, Denise? You're on mute. Take yourself off mute.
Yes. Cypress oil. I make a roller with it, and I just roll it on my abdomen, and I'm telling you, it's a life. It was a life-changing thing, because I would get up to have to go to the bathroom, and that really disturbed your sleep when you had to get up 2, 3, 4 times a night to go to the bathroom. So I only get it once.
Yay, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
My daughter actually does that. I have a daughter that she just has to go to the bathroom. And so she puts cypress on at night, and it helps her. And it's a really calming smell too, real woodsy, earthy, calming smell. So those are some things that you can use in the meantime while you're healing the root cause, your gut, your lifestyle, even food. Sometimes food sensitivities, I didn't bring this up, food sensitivities could be triggering cortisol surges and adrenaline surges, even if it's the healthiest food like strawberries, cucumbers, right? We always think gluten and dairy, right, as a food sensitivity, but sometimes you could be sensitive to something that is relatively, on the safe list, like a strawberry. So maybe even getting a food sensitivity test. I mean, I feel like there's so many in-home tests to check that these days. That could be something that you can just mark off, get that done and see where, maybe you have some sensitivities that could be throwing some high cortisol levels that is hindering your sleep at night, especially if you eat it before bed and then you're like, you can't sleep. So even track what you're eating before bed, what you're doing during the day, some patterns. That way you can see patterns. So if anything that I talked about tonight, if you want to, ask me any questions, feel free to reach out. You can reach out at my email. Well, I'll email you guys. So you can just reach out to me through email or messenger, however you feel comfortable reaching out to me. And I'd gladly help, navigate any of these areas. Oh, yes, Karen, my dog too. I feel like my kids are finally sleeping through the night. And now I have an older dog that definitely wakes me up too. So yes, if you find something that works for that. All right, well, complete that survey. And I thank you guys so much for joining tonight and taking time out of your Monday night. Next Monday night is an off night. It's Memorial Day weekend. So enjoy the long weekend with your family. And Sarah and I have something super exciting that we want to launch for the summer. It's called a summer series that we're doing. And so we're going to launch that. I'll share it in the email when I send that out to you. So something fun coming your way in summer. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to message me. You guys have an incredible evening. Rest well. Bye.